You actually brought a photo to prove we do have something in common.
Yes, we definitely do. In keeping with the theme of the show, I'm actually a ginger baby.
You are a ginger baby. Oh, this is a
Yes.
picture of you. How old are you in this photo?
Probably about three years old.
3 years
and
old.
I had red hair until I was about 7.
She was 5'5" in a world that demanded 6 feet. Too short, too different, too soft-spoken. And yet, she made the entire industry listen. This is the story of Devon Aoki, the girl who rewrote the rules of beauty, then quietly vanished before fame could consume her. For a moment, she was everywhere. Her face, angular, porcelain, unforgettable, stared down from billboards across continents. Her walk, graceful yet defiant, became the whisper of a new millennium. She was the model who defied every expectation. And then, at her peak, she disappeared. To some, it was a mystery. To others, it was a tragedy. But to Devon Aoki, it was liberation. Because not every woman who walks away from the spotlight fades. Some walk away to finally see themselves. A childhood between worlds. Devon Edwina Aoki was born on August 10, 1982, into a life already drenched in contradictions. Her father, Hiroaki Rocky Aoki, was a Japanese-born wrestler turned entrepreneur who built the global Benihana empire. He lived fast, racing boats, piloting hot air balloons, chasing adventure and adrenaline. Her mother, Pamela Hilberger, was an artist and jewelry designer, gentle, reflective, grounded. Their union was magnetic but volatile, ambition and art colliding under one roof. Devon grew up between luxury and loneliness, between New York's glittering chaos and California's quiet calm. She was surrounded by success, but she was not sheltered from its cost. In family photos, she stands slightly apart, a child watching the world, not quite inside it. She loved painting, poetry, silence. She once said she never dreamed of being a model. It just happened to her. The accidental discovery. At 13, she attended a concert in New York. Somewhere in that crowd, a talent scout noticed her. Within weeks, she was signed to Storm Management, the same agency that represented Kate Moss. She was still in school, still a child, yet the camera adored her. Her features, a delicate mix of East and West, were unlike anything the industry had seen. She wasn't tall or loud or conventional, but when a lens found her, she transformed. A quiet girl who suddenly carried centuries of mystery in one gaze. Fashion, ever hungry for something new, saw opportunity. Devon saw something else. Pressure. Her father wanted her to focus on school. Her mother worried she was too young. But the current of fashion in the late 1990s was unstoppable. By 14, Devon was walking in Paris. By 16, she was the new face of Versace. The world was watching. She was still figuring out who she was. The rise of a new icon. The late 90s fashion world was obsessed with perfection. Tall bodies, symmetrical faces, and an unattainable coolness that mirrored a kind of distance. Devon shattered that illusion. At 5 feet 5 inches, she shouldn't have been on the runway, yet there she was, gliding past supermodels half a foot taller, her gaze unwavering. Her walk was short, deliberate, almost meditative, not commanding, but hypnotic. Designers didn't know what to make of her. Karl Lagerfeld called her a modern enigma. Donatella Versace said she was like a painting that moves. Devon's image soon became everywhere. Chanel, Balenciaga, Dior, Hugo Boss, Lanvin, Givenchy, Jean-Paul Gaultier. Each campaign framed her differently. Porcelain doll, alien muse, street rebel, goddess. She could be anything, yet no one seemed to ask who she really was. The fashion world celebrated her difference while quietly exploiting it. They loved her for being unique, But that word was double-edged. It made her both a phenomenon and an outsider. The pressure behind the poise, beneath the designer gowns and magazine covers, Devon's world was intense. She was a teenager navigating adult expectations. Flights, fittings, interviews, criticism. The industry was relentless, and at its center was a girl barely old enough to vote. She didn't drink or party. She wasn't chasing glamour. She followed a routine: work, travel, hotel, silence. Photographers described her as still water, but that stillness was armor. Every shoot demanded perfection, and every imperfection became a headline. The very features that made her famous, her height, her eyes, her heritage, became tools of both praise and prejudice. Fashion's love was conditional. The moment the world got bored, it would move on. And Devon knew it. The emotional toll. By her early 20s, she had achieved what most models never would. She had conquered an empire that wasn't built for her. But inside, she was fading. She once described the fashion world as beautiful and brutal. It rewards your youth, then punishes you for growing up. You live surrounded by mirrors, yet rarely see yourself. Behind the glamour was exhaustion, 4 a.m. calls, endless flights, and constant judgment. She was still the girl from art class, still shy, still searching for quiet. But now, that quiet was impossible. As the new millennium dawned, Devon realized something most people in her industry never do. That being famous isn't the same as being fulfilled. Hollywood's temptation, just when she thought she was ready to stop, Hollywood arrived. Casting agents saw in her something cinematic. Mystery, presence, allure. She appeared in Too Fast, Too Furious, 2003, as Suki. Pink car, pink hair, pink confidence. A burst of femininity wrapped in rebellion. Then came Sin City, Dead or Alive, and War. To fans, it looked like a new beginning. But for Devon, acting was a way out, a quieter form of expression, not another stage for vanity. Even in film, she never chased stardom. She stayed elusive, giving only fragments of herself, never the full picture. Because for Devon Aoki, the spotlight had already cost too much the moment of departure. In 2008, she did something unthinkable. She stepped away. No announcement, no scandal, no goodbye tour. She simply stopped showing up. The cameras waited, the calls slowed, the silence grew. For an industry addicted to visibility, her absence was incomprehensible. But for Devon, it was peace. She had spent her teenage years under fluorescent lights. Now she wanted sunlight. She had been styled by the world. Now she wanted to choose her own reflection. When asked later why she left, she said softly, "I wanted to live a life that wasn't about being looked at." Life beyond the lens. Devon married James Bailey, a financier, in 2011. They built a family, 4 children, laughter, stability. It was the first time in her life that she wasn't performing. Motherhood became her new runway, one where the only audience was love. She traded fashion weeks for family weekends, catwalks for classrooms, and the applause of strangers for the quiet joy of bedtime stories. And yet, even away from the world's eyes, her influence lingered. You could feel her presence in every casting that dared to challenge beauty's rules. In the rise of shorter models, in the celebration of Asian faces, in the acceptance of diversity as beauty's new definition. She had walked away from fame, but fame couldn't quite walk away from her. The return, on her own terms. After nearly a decade of silence, the world began to see her again. Not through paparazzi lenses, but through legacy. Old photos resurfaced on fashion forums. Gen Z fans discovered her through mood boards, Y2K nostalgia, and digital archives. And suddenly, Devon Aoki became timeless again. She appeared on Vogue Germany and Numero Tokyo, not as a comeback, but as a reminder. She was no longer the ingenue, she was the blueprint. In a world now celebrating inclusivity, her story felt prophetic. She had embodied diversity before it was a movement, authenticity before it was marketing. Her interviews were different now, slower, thoughtful, private. When she spoke about fashion, she didn't reminisce about glory, she reflected on growth. She said, "It took walking away to realize I was never meant to be a fantasy. I'm a person, legacy of the outsider." For every young model today who doesn't fit the mold, Devon Aoki is proof that the mold was never sacred. She became a symbol of possibility for those who were told they were too short, too ethnic, too quiet, too strange. Her story lives in the DNA of the modern runway. Devon Aoki was never meant to be the prototype. She was meant to be the exception that changed the rule, the quiet legacy. When you look at her photos now, the haunting Vogue Italia shoots, the surreal Versace campaigns, they feel like time capsules. Her eyes carry a depth that most models spend years trying to fake. Because hers weren't performance, they were truth captured between flashes. She brought humanity into high fashion, long before authenticity became a buzzword. She showed that beauty isn't dominance, it's presence. Her fans, many of whom discovered her years after she left, describe her as the model who felt real. And that's exactly what she was. A real person in an unreal world. The woman who chose herself today, Devon Aoki, lives quietly, raising her children, creating art, occasionally stepping into the world she once ruled, but only when it feels right. She doesn't chase relevance. She doesn't need it. She has something much rarer: peace. She remains an icon, not because she's everywhere, but because she's not. In an age of constant exposure, her absence feels sacred. In a culture addicted to reinvention, her refusal to perform has become her power. She doesn't post constantly, doesn't appear in every campaign, yet every few months, an image of her resurfaces, and the world remembers. The eyes, the walk, the presence, timeless. The hidden price of fame. The price of fame isn't always scandal or downfall. Sometimes it's silence, the kind that lingers after the applause fades, when the cameras stop flashing, and you realize how much of yourself you've given away. Devon Aoki understood that long before the world did. She didn't crash, she didn't spiral, she simply stepped away, gracefully, consciously, bravely. She left the runway not as a fallen star, but as a woman walking toward her own light. They said she was too small, too quiet, too strange, the industry whispered. But Devon Aoki proved that the smallest voices can echo the longest. Her story isn't about fame lost. It's about freedom found. Not about perfection, but peace. Not about disappearing, but choosing when to appear. Because in a world that glorifies visibility, the most radical act is to be invisible and content. Devon Aoki didn't just walk away from fashion. She walked away from expectation, from illusion, from the noise. And somewhere beyond the flashbulbs and applause, she found what every supermodel secretly searches for: not the perfect photo, but the perfect piece. She was never broken. She was simply done being seen. Devon Aoki, the supermodel who walked away, not because she was fading, but because she had finally arrived.